last week I was planning on making a video specifically talking about the Texas lawsuit where the states of Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin were being sued by Texas over violations of the 14th Amendment, the Equal Protections Clause, and over uh, the process of state legislators being the ones that make decisions over election laws within their own states. I was going to talk heavily about that. I had the video already up, or well, I had the video already edited and stuff. I was going to post that on Friday, and then the Supreme Court said they weren't going to make that hearing. And the reason why they say that was, of course, supposedly Texas not have any legal standing. Now from a point of view, you could say that this may be correct. Now, I personally disagree, considering that this is a federal election. Consequently, since this is, of course, again, a federal election, all 50 states, including the territories, are affected. After all, we're the ones who are trying to appoint our new senators, our own congressmen. Hell, this year, we're appointing the next president and vice president of the United States. But no, they just threw that out. And as I'm making this video, it's already 3 days after supposedly the Electoral College certified Joe Biden as the president-elect. Although I have some issues with that, and that's what I'm going to go over in this video. Because let's just catch up. I know that things seem pretty bleak. However, there's been a lot of new developments. First of all, there's still the issue of the Texas lawsuit. In a way, while it is disheartening, and I admit I was also angry about this situation, this actually opens up a new opportunity for Donald Trump. In a way, I kind of see this, in the appropriate sense of the term, a kind of a remember the Alamo moment. It's the Texas lawsuit, after all. I thought that would be appropriate. But anyways, the reason why I say that is basically on standing. They never looked at the merits. And thanks to the fact that the issue was only standing, Donald Trump has actually issued similar lawsuits in, of course, the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. Now, those cases are still pending, but nonetheless, they're still there, furthering the dispute which is going on. Now, I still have my issues with the Supreme Court, especially with their reasonings of the Texas lawsuit. Hell, I even seen the Tatum report of I believe it was Lin Wood, that actually talked about this situation. Or wait, I don't know. I think I may be wrong whether or not it's Lin Wood. But anyways, a lawyer who was definitely on the side of Trump heard some yelling behind the scenes, where normally it's pretty calm and peaceful, and apparently it sounded like Chief Justice John Roberts said that after Alito and Thomas cited Bush v. Gore, he basically says, I don't give a F about that case. They didn't have rights, which, honestly, if that's true, god damn, the Supreme Court needs a spine. But, there is still hope, especially with those 4 cases. And let's not forget about a few other things. There's also, with Lin Wood and Sidney Powell's cases being still pending towards the Supreme Court. They have been yet to be thrown out. Currently, they're in Georgia, Michigan, and in Arizona. And don't worry, I will be talking about Arizona in a little bit. But here's another issue which I managed to hear about today. The original Pennsylvania lawsuit, the one with Act 77 with Mark Kelly, is actually being docketed. That's right. I believe possibly this will be heard by the Supreme Court. Whether or not if fruitions or anything, that's another story. Again, I have my doubts with the Supreme Court because of again what happened. But nonetheless, the fact that they're taking this up finally is a little bit heartening, to say the very least. Again, I don't entirely trust the situation with the Supreme Court, but again, I have to take the good from the bad. But in my personal opinion, of course, considering that from previous lawyers prior to, of course, the Texas lawsuit, they have said that this may likely go into Trump's favor. So for right now, I'm thinking that the betting may side with President Trump, at least in this one lawsuit. There are still, again, the other lawsuits which are pending with Sidney Powell and with Lin Wood, and again, the similar Texas lawsuits in the states of Georgia, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, respectively. Hell, there is still Trump is definitely still fighting over the absentee ballot situation in Wisconsin. While the Wisconsin Supreme Court rejected his complaints about it to throw out the absentee ballots, I would not put it past him to potentially appeal this to the district court or eventually to the Supreme Court. What I do know, and this is a major victory in Wisconsin, is that when it comes to absentee ballots and mail-in ballots, Wisconsin allowed, at least before this ruling by the Wisconsin Supreme Court, that COVID-19 was enough to say that, oh, you're incapacitated, please send me a mail-in ballot. The Supreme Court unanimously rejected that notion. Now, I don't know how much that could potentially change the outcome of the election in Wisconsin. But considering that Biden is ahead by 20,000 votes within that state, I honestly, there could be potentially a great change in the notion, but I would not put it past it if Biden still goes on forward with this. Oh, what else? Oh, there is also the situation with Dominion. Oh, Dominion. I mean, I know YouTube has that stupid fucking policy about not talking about fraud or irregularities or that BS. It's really hard. But nonetheless, there was a forensic audit that was released on December 14th. The Trump campaign wanted to have a forensic audit earlier. A Michigan judge granted that, and now they managed to what was finally allowed to release by a Michigan judge the results of the forensic audit, and it showed an error of 68.05%. 68.5%. Or no, sorry, 68.05%. That's a big number. And now, considering the situation happening in Michigan, there's already a similar forensic audit that's going to happen in Arizona. Now, if that has pretty much a similar, if that turns out to have a similar ratio of an error in Arizona, I wouldn't put it past Arizona lawmakers to actually say, you know what, screw this, at the very least decertify or give our electors to Donald J. Trump. I even heard that there may have been a forensic audit in Nevada where it showed Dominion at 70%. I don't recall. I haven't focused that much on Nevada, to be honest with you. But if that's true, it obviously shows the problems, the irregularities that are going on. And another thing, already, just today, the director of national intelligence has said that there is definitely foreign influence in our election, most specifically from China. Now, of course, that according to a 2018 executive order signed by President Donald J. Trump, it says that 45 days after the election, the director of national intelligence needs to write a report on this, so that eventually President Donald Trump would make a decision about in regards to how to do this, whether to sanction certain organizations or individuals in regards to this, which is definitely what a lot of people have been thinking about. I've been thinking about this situation. I would not put it past Donald Trump to actually issue Executive Order 13848. That's what it's called. Executive Order 13848. And this could do a whole lot of things. Probably, at the very least, issue a major special probe. And he's definitely going to use that against Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. But already, I've been seeing a lot of problems already just from Joe Biden. And he hasn't even started his presidency yet. What else? But there's already a lot of things that are just going on. Finally. Wait. I'm just sorry. I'm just trying to make sure I got everything from the top of my head. There was Lynn Woods, Sidney Powell. There's the Donald Trump Texas lawsuits, or the similar Texas lawsuits. The audits going on in Michigan and Arizona, the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and of course the executive order. I would not be surprised if this would eventually lead to the issuing of the Insurrection Act. Considering what's been going on with the Supreme Court not really taking up these major cases, and in fact just going so far as just to be very slow about it, yeah, I would not be surprised if he actually uses the Insurrection Act. Hell, already, retired and active duty military officials such as General Michael Flynn are actually advocating for this. I would not put it past him if he decided to issue limited martial law and probably a redo of the election, with the U.S. military being the ones to keep control of the situation. Of course, with Republican and Democratic poll watchers, but they will also help with the auditing and making sure that there are actual legal votes, not no ballot stuffing of any kind. I would not put it past them, and the issuing of this executive order would potentially happen. While it's true that the report by the Director of National Intelligence is going to be delayed, I would not be surprised if there's going to be more development on this report in the days to come. Because this definitely is one of the major paths that Trump is probably going to use in reacquiring victory. In fact, Steve Turley actually made a mention about this in one of his videos, which I will be posting down in the description below if you guys are interested. So, with that out of the way, there's the final thing. And it's, of course, about the Electoral College. While technically Joe Biden is the president-elect, I would argue otherwise. The reason why is because there are dual electors. Now, this actually occurred in past history in 1960. Originally, Richard Nixon supposedly won the state of Hawaii. The Republican governor signed off on the electors, sent them over to Washington. However, the Democrats decided to send their own electors as well, because there was a still pending lawsuit and issues regarding the certainty of the election in the state of Hawaii. After a recount and after winning a lawsuit, I believe, it turns out John F. Kennedy won that state. And Richard Nixon, who was the vice president at the time, had no choice but to count the state of Hawaii and the Democratic electors for John F. Kennedy. And this based upon that precedent, the Republicans are already doing that in not one, not two, not three, but 7 states. Admittedly, when I saw what was going on, I was surprised and happy. I was really, really happy because again, this honestly gives Trump a lot of breathing room, so that way he can get the courts to potentially see his cases. Plus, there's also this makes the entire issue a contested election. While again, supposedly Joe Biden is the president-elect, I again argue otherwise because of the contested results and the dual electors. I would say neither Trump nor Biden is the president-elect at this point. Or in the case of Donald Trump, the president-re-elect. But anyways, what goes on from here, I have no idea. Potentially due to the possibility of these litigations not being resolved, or there's still major issues that are going on. Mike Pence, the vice president and the president of the Senate, who is the one who has to count these votes from the Electoral College, may potentially say, as a result of what's been going on, I cannot count the votes in New Mexico, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, and Arizona, which would leave it to the House. Now, speaking of which, Mitch McConnell, who in his typical establishment fashion, decided to throw Trump under the bus by saying, "Congratulations, Joe Biden, and all Republicans, please support Joe Biden, despite the fact that there are so many irregularities." Yeah, that did not go well for him. And honestly, that was really well deserved because already several Republicans are planning on issuing objections over the Electoral College, and potentially maybe a few senators could also join in on this one, such as Josh Hawley of Missouri and most prominent Rand Paul of Kentucky. Now, what happens from there, I have no idea. What I do know is that once those objections are raised, where you need to be endorsed by one senator and one congressman or congresswoman, whatever, both chambers are to leave. They're going to have a 2-hour debate, and then they will have to vote on the legitimacy of the Electoral College and decide from there. Now, I heard that from Steve Turley that it's also based upon. I think he also said that it was decided specifically in the House of Representatives on House delegation. Similar in that notion. I think either I'm mixing it up with the 12th Amendment process, which clearly states that situation, or I haven't read that law specifically more intent enough. So I cannot confirm that specifically, except under the 12th Amendment, of course. Now, I would not be surprised if there were several objections, even if supposedly both houses, both chambers still support this, I think Mike Pence still has a decision on whether or not to actually choose whether to accept these delegates or not. Either way, he's going to have a lot of people focusing heavily on him. He is probably, at this point in the 21st century, the most important vice president we've ever had. Because now he's dealing with a constitutional crisis. He has to decide whether or not he's going to count certain electors in 7 states. He's going to be the determining factor, potentially, on the 2020 election. And already a lot of people have so little faith. There was already one poll where it showed 47% of Americans believe that that the election was stolen from Donald Trump and that there was massive fraud. Either way, Mike Pence is definitely going to be the deciding factor of this. From what I think, and I'm pretty sure that considering that there is so much energy from not only the Trump movement but the Stop the Steal movement, it's definitely going to lit a fire in the Republican Party. Hell, it already is at this point. I have heard talks about a potential third party known as the MAGA party. I honestly wouldn't rule that out, especially with how Mitch McConnell, Romney, Ben Stats, and all those guys are just throwing Trump under the bus, which is a dick move, by the way. But again, it all depends on what this entire situation is going to end up as. I would not be surprised if there was going to be an objection whatsoever. In fact, I expect, this is my protection, I expect that Josh Hawley and Rand Paul will sign on with the congressman. What happens from there, I have no idea. But wherever you look at it, with all that I've just told you about, the similar Texas-style lawsuits made by Trump, Linwood and Sidney Powell issuing their own cases to the Supreme Court, the Pennsylvania case going to the Supreme Court, the situation in Wisconsin, the dual electors, the forensic auditing, all this still gives Donald Trump a potential pathway to victory. There is still hope, people. You just have to keep to the plan. My name is Noah Meehan on The Arc Truth. Please post your comments down below, like this video, subscribe, and share it for friends. Also, if you have any issues regarding my videos, such as how I speak, or how I frame stuff, or anything whatsoever, I would love to hear from your feedback. Just post them down in the comment section down below, or directly message me. Thank you.
Almost heaven.